The story begins in futuristic Canada, where due to overpopulation, the government has banned having more than one child. No one is allowed to have a second child, even if their first child dies. Anyone who breaks this law is sent to the country's most dangerous prison. Canada and its borders have very tight security, where people are thoroughly searched before being allowed to proceed. John Brannock, a former soldier, is in a car with his wife Karen. Karen is wearing a magnetic vest under her coat because she is pregnant and wants to give birth to her second child far away from here. The vest will prevent the scanners from detecting her pregnancy during the check. As the soldiers were searching their belongings, a woman was arrested for being pregnant, which made Karen even more scared. However, her magnetic vest saved her. After they got out, a soldier noticed the magnetic vest, and many guards started chasing them. John told his wife and child to run while he stayed behind to hold off the soldiers. John was then captured and taken to a prison called Fortress, the most high-tech prison in the country, located in the middle of a desert. Escaping from there was impossible. When the prisoners arrived, the guards stripped them naked and thoroughly checked them. They were then taken to a room where a high-tech tracker was implanted in their stomachs. If any prisoner broke the prison rules, the system would activate and cause intense pain in their stomach. The director told everyone that if a prisoner crossed the yellow line, they would feel severe pain, and if they crossed the red line, they would die. One prisoner accidentally crossed the yellow line and fell down in pain, not understanding what was happening. He accidentally crossed the red line too, and his stomach swelled up and exploded. All the prisoners were then taken to an underground prison, 30 floors below the surface. John was placed in a cell with a prisoner named Ninu and a robot named Z10. To prevent prisoners from escaping, laser beams were installed outside all the cells. John met D-Day and Abraham there. Before sleeping, Abraham warned John not to dream, as it was forbidden. After everyone slept, an inspector came and scanned John's mind to enter his dreams. John was dreaming about his wife Karen. The inspector saw John's dream from the monitoring room and focused on Karen, as dreaming was not allowed. The security device in John's stomach activated, causing him severe pain and waking him up. The next day, during labor, a man named Maddox tried to take advantage of Ninu. John immediately came to his rescue, but the inspector activated the devices in all three of their stomachs, stopping the fight. They were then placed in a small laser cell and questioned about who started the fight. Nanu, being scared, stayed silent, so John took the blame to save his friend. John was then taken to the inspector's office, where he saw Karen bathing on a monitor. He learned that Karen had also been captured and brought to the prison. The inspector started torturing John and Karen, causing them immense pain. Later, Abraham told John that women were kept on floors A and B, so Karen must be there. In the women's prison, Karen was with another pregnant woman. When the woman felt pain in her stomach, the guards forcefully took her away. Every woman there was pregnant. Karen realized that something was being done to the newborn babies. Meanwhile, in the men's prison, Maddox attacked John, leading to a fierce fight. Karen was shocked to see John from her floor. John managed to push Maddox from a height, but Maddox saved himself by holding onto the edge. The inspector ordered John to kill Maddox, but John saved him instead. In anger, the inspector activated the device in Maddox's stomach, causing it to explode. Before the guards could take Maddox away, John cleverly took Maddox's security device. Karen was then brought to a room where John was strapped to a huge rotating machine called the chamber. The inspector wanted Karen to convince John to cooperate, but soon the guards dragged Karen away. The machine started spinning rapidly, causing John to lose his mind. This was the inspector's punishment for not obeying orders. John started seeing old memories of his training and marriage. 3 days later, the inspector called Karen to his office. He couldn't understand how John had survived on the machine for 3 days when most people died within an hour. He told Karen that if she divorced John and became his, he would release both John and their unborn child. Thinking about her husband and unborn child, Karen reluctantly agreed. When John returned to his cell, he was a broken man. He didn't talk to anyone and seemed indifferent to pain. Karen started living with the inspector. One night, she saw the inspector sitting with many wires attached to his body. She realized that he had been modified into an advanced human who didn't need food or sleep, only requiring amino acids once a month. The newborn babies in the prison were also subjected to many operations to turn them into advanced humans, free from hunger and thirst. Hearing this, Karen was horrified. 4 months had passed, but John's condition hadn't improved. Abraham told him that Karen's belly was growing and their baby would be born soon. John showed no reaction, but a single tear fell from his eye. That night, Karen got the inspector drunk and unconscious. She then accessed the control panel and entered John's dream, where she found him trapped in a pit as a child. In the dream, Karen helped John out of the pit, waking him up in reality. Seeing John awake, his friends were overjoyed. John asked Abraham for help to escape the prison with Karen. Abraham agreed to take the risk for John's sake. Hearing about John's recovery, Karen was very happy. Later, Nanu gave John the security device they had taken from Medox's body. Before coming to the prison, John's friend was an expert in computers and decided to examine the device thoroughly. They discovered that it contained a detailed map of the entire prison. They planned their escape through a construction site. The next morning, Abraham returned the map to the inspector's room without anyone noticing. Meanwhile, D-Day figured out how the security device worked. It contained a powerful magnet, which they used to remove the devices from their bodies successfully. The next day, the robot inspector informed the inspector about a disturbance in the prison. They saw footage of Karen stealing a lance and Abraham returning it. Enraged by the betrayal, the inspector was about to take action when the robot inspector told him that he had been removed from his director position due to negligence. John's team prepared to escape, removing their security devices and placing them on a pipe in the construction area. They pretended to fight each other. When the robot inspector activated the devices, the pipe exploded, creating an escape route. But before they could flee, the inspector released extremely hot air into the pipes, and high-tech robots started shooting at the prisoners. One prisoner panicked and tried to return to the prison but was shot dead by the robots. Meanwhile, Abraham reached the women's prison to get Karen, but the inspector arrived and killed Abraham. The guards dragged Karen away to turn her baby into an advanced human. John's team managed to defeat one of the robots. Realizing they were advanced humans, John picked up the robot's gun and fought his way back to the prison. Finally, they reached the lift and went up. In the inspector's cabin, they found Karen. John saw on the screen that doctors were forcefully extracting their baby. John threatened the inspector to stop the operation, but the inspector had no authority anymore. A robot recognized John and attacked, but the prisoners intervened, and the robot shot the inspector. D-Day tried to stop the doctors from the control panel, but was shot by a guard. John avenged his friend's death, and D-Day, in his last moments, shut down the entire prison's power. The doctors stopped, and they escaped in a prison truck. They crossed the Mexican border and stopped. Karen was about to give birth, but the truck suddenly started moving on its own. The prison still controlled the truck, and it crushed Nini to death. John went outside to confront the truck while Karen struggled inside the cabin. John blew up the truck, but it crashed into the cabin, trapping Karen under the debris. John frantically searched for his wife, but she had managed to escape at the last moment. She was safe, holding their beautiful baby. In the end, John and Karen succeeded in saving their child. How much do you love your parents? Share in the comments with one line.